This question, why did I attend this talk show, We the People, on NDTV? This has been asked to me a few hundred times in the past 2 weeks, personally, on email, on telephone, from people in Bombay, from people in different parts of India, from people in different parts of the world. And many people told me, those who know me personally, that after the show you had with Farooq Sheikh, after seeing The Deceit, how did you attend this show? And after the show that I attended with Farooq Sheikh on Mard, though I don't blame him, I blame the producer, I always had a condition. As I mentioned earlier, I received a few hundred invitations in the past couple of years. A few hundred, maybe 1,000, from different channels in India, asking me to attend TV talk shows, panel discussions, chat shows. And I put the condition that it should either be live and unedited, or let us have our own camera crew of at least 6 to 7 cameras to shoot the talk show, so that if you edit something, we'll show it live on our channel. And when the first time I received the invitation for the talk show on NDTV, We the People, I wasn't there in the country, so it was refused. When they again approached, then I put the condition that we want to have our cameras on the talk show, and it was agreed by the coordinator who was coordinating and calling me for the show. So my manager, Maqbool, he said, if you allow us to have our cameras on the talk show, then Dr. Naik will come. And he said, that won't be a problem. He readily agreed. So I said, no problem. If they do some editing, then surely we can add the unedited version on the other channels. So that was the reason that I decided to attend this talk show. But unfortunately, just one day before the talk show, the coordinator told me that, but Zakir, you know, we're having the program in Taj Lands, and when I spoke to him personally, and the place is so small, we're already having our 6 cameras, and you being a man of media, you know how difficult it is to accommodate more cameras. I knew this is just an excuse. I'm a man of media. In the Taj Land, I can accommodate more than 12 cameras. This place is smaller than Taj Lands, and here we have 9 cameras. Taj Lands, 5-star hotel, is multiple times bigger than this. When here we can have 9 cameras, why can't we have it there? So I knew it was just an excuse, but then I asked a condition, that will you give me an unedited version of the complete show on a digital Betacam format, or DV cam, whichever you're shooting on. I'm not aware whether NDTV shoots on digital Betacam or DV cam, but we normally shoot only on digital Betacam or something better. So he told me, yes, Dr. Zakir Naik, that I can do. I'll give you an unedited version immediately after the show, which is of broadcast quality. And with this condition, I attended the show. But alas, when I inquired with other people, when the show got over, and when we asked for the unedited version, they said, okay, we'll give it to you very shortly, you know, maybe after it's telecast. We said, fine, that's fine, after telecast, so that we don't utilize the material. Then after the show was telecast, when my manager inquired for the copy, they gave after several days, that also on DVD. And it wasn't an unedited version, it was the same edited version which was shown on the television. What is the use of giving that? We already have recorded that. And initially when I attended the program, people told me that Barkha Dutt, you know, she's very challenging, she's outspoken, and she has a ways in trying to make a person say what she wants to say. But I said, no problem, since the show will be unedited with me, there's not a problem. And with that intention, I went for the show. And though I know that she did give me less time, initially the coordinator asked me to come on the show. I asked how many people are there. So he told me there is Shah Rukh Khan, Karan Johar, Alik Padamsi, and he said Maulana Madni from Kerala. So I said, Maulana Madni from Kerala? I don't know any Maulana Madni from Kerala. I said, I want to know the full name. Then he said, no, I'm sorry. It is Maulana Mahmood Madni from Delhi. Oh, I know the person, mashallah, he's a close friend of mine. So I said, fine, since there are 4 panelists and I'm the 5th one, seeing the situation, the more the number of panelists, the less chance a person gets, even if it's divided. But unfortunately, when I went on the show, I saw there were additional 3. Besides the 4 he mentioned, there was Najeeb Jung. I met him for the first time, the Vice Chancellor of Jamia Millia from Delhi, and Kabir, who I was told is a film producer or film director, I'm not sure, and Soh Ali Khan. So 3 additional panelists, so it became 8. But when I went on the show, I realized that even the time that is given to me, if we feel divided, will be less. But though the show, according to me, I was given less time, but in spite of the other things, I said, fine, at least I made a few points. And even if these are shown, there will not be a problem. But when I saw the show 1 week later on, I was shocked. I was utterly shocked that my answers were edited. And especially those answers which were critical and would put me on the wrong side. That's the time I said that the intention of the producer of the program and the intention of the moderator has to be verified. Because the answer that I gave on Osama bin Laden, most of the people who see me on the television, they know it very well. I don't want to repeat the answer. But when I mentioned that irrespective, whoever has done the 9/11 attack, whether it's George Bush or Osama bin Laden, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, whoever has done it should be condemned. That part was edited. So when you edit a major portion of it, the act has to be condemned. If you don't know the person, you cannot blame a person without proof. So I condemn the act irrespective of whoever did it. So when that part is edited, it shows as though I'm a supporter of Osama bin Laden. I'm neither a supporter, neither I'm against him because I don't know. And as brother rightly said, when I'm telling I don't know because I cannot base my view on BBC and CNN, Barkha Dutt says, come on, Dr. Zakir, as though I'm telling a lie. Same thing Karan Johar says, that he got angry at about 6 non-Muslims, 3 of them who are investment bankers, 2 of them Oxford University graduates, when they speak against Muslims, and he said, how can you blame the whole community just on news, got on New York Times and news channel? She says, yeah. So this shows the double standards, and rightly brother said, that when she's agreeing with Karan Johar who says, you cannot base your views on New York Times and news channels, and when I say I cannot base my views of Osama bin Laden based on BBC and CNN, she immediately interjects, and she's cutting me down. So this shows the intention that the moderator was biased. She was not truthful. So that's the reason the whole show, what I thought at least that make my point, I did not expect her to be so unjust, and the producer, that they cut my answers. And they did not do it once, they did several times. One more answer when I gave, when Najeeb Jung, when he said something, and I said that counseling is allowed, and I said that if a person doesn't have drug, and I tell him don't have drug, then the person will agree with me. This part they should. But when I said later on, that I being a doctor, if I am a doctor, and I give advice to a patient, because that person considers me to be an expert in the field of medicine, then people agree with me. When someone considers me to have knowledge on Quran, but when I give the advice on Quran, they don't follow. So this portion of doctor's analogy was edited. So why do they edit? So this shows that to attend a talk show, you may be an expert, but if the intentions of the moderator and the producer are not right, even the best person to appear on a talk show, he can be showed on the other side. He can be showed in the negative way. Because as I said, you can edit, you can cut. Therefore, the best is to go on a live talk show, which is aired without editing, or you have a moderator and a producer of the show who are not biased and truthful and honest. Like example, the NDTV interview done by Shekhar Gupta. I really admire the person. He may have disagreed with some of my views, but he was honest. So looking back at it, because we put the conditions, I went on the show. And when I put these conditions to many other channels, they refuse, saying we will not allow. But NDTV, at least this show, we the people, I think they went a step further by saying we agree, and one day before disagreeing and promising us to give an unedited version, which they have not given. So I feel the intention, what I thought, I trust in NDTV. As a whole, I don't blame them, because the earlier program they had of mine was fantastic. But this maybe the producer is different and the moderator is different. They aren't the same as Shekhar Gupta. So, but looking back again, when I saw the show, I was initially very disgusted that I should not have gone on the show. Later on, I told my staff, at least take my portion and let me see how much I've spoken. So one of my staff, he took out all the portion, and it was 6.5 minutes. 6.5 minutes! I was happy. But then I realized in that 6.5 minutes, 2.5 to 3 minutes was spoken by Barkha Dutt. I spoke for only 207 seconds. I did a calculation. Coming to less than 3.5 minutes. And this is what I felt. But when I saw the portion of my portion only, even if they've edited it, yet, as Allah says in the Quran in Surah Isra, chapter 17, verse number 81, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. When truth is heard against falsehood, falsehood perishes. For falsehood is by its nature bound to perish. When I saw the emails, and I read the emails that came on comments on NDTV by Muslims and non-Muslims, I was shocked. Believe me, I was shocked. Out of the emails I read, 2/3 were either telling that Dr. Zakir Naik did not get enough time, either they're speaking against Barkha Dutt. That means on the positive side, that they could see through, maybe because they know my answers or they're aware of my speeches. So I was happy that 2/3 of them, the emails that I read, because maybe they've seen these people, maybe my fans or whatever it is, or they've seen me, the non-Muslims, the Muslims. That is the reason they did not appreciate the way it was conducted. Out of the balance 1/3, half of them were neutral, half of them were critical, saying that, see, Zakir here, he didn't get a chance, so they're happy about it. But overall, I feel, even what they have done, as Imran rightly said, the message, the major point for put across, what is the definition of a Muslim? There's nothing like moderate Muslim, either practicing, partially practicing, or non-practicing Muslim. So these points about the various things that are spoken in the media, at least I made a point, and those who were intelligent got it. So alhamdulillah, irrespective of what happened, I feel whatever happens, happens for good, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best to make his message spread.
كم تسابقتم مع طير الصباح وتناديتم بحيا للفلاح للمصلى كنتم مثل الجناح كطيور عانقت نجم الفضاء